Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 16th meeting of the Personnel Board for the Town of Dudley. I'm Lorna Wade, Chairperson.
Mary Beth Marziotti.
Jim Dunn.
Anne Marie Gray.
Rose Smoker.
I'll ask you to look at the minutes if you haven't already looked at the minutes for April 18th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The minutes have been approved. Next on the agenda is the appointment of Water Sewer Administrator. I'm sorry, I'm reading from the wrong thing. The next thing is an appointment with the Treasurer Collector, Richard Kamiani. Yes, wishing to speak?
Good morning.
Thank you. There's two here, I believe.
Did you get one, Rick?
I do not.
I'm sorry.
No, the next one right there.
Thank you.
Should be good at counting these things, right?
So, Mr. Kamiani, I'm assuming that this is beyond the merit increases that people get.
Yes, it is.
And have you done a study from other towns to see where that kind of position would lie?
As far as, I'm not catching up on it. I approached this a little differently, saying we're coming up on a 2-year anniversary. We took someone with no municipal experience and put them in as the position of assistant treasurer collector. And now we have someone who's received only the same 2% that everybody else has. And I think it is time to review what she is capable of, what she has demonstrated, and what the future is ahead of her. And this is against the backdrop of a few employees leaving to go somewhere else. And I know you don't throw money at people just specifically to keep them, but clearly the progress that she's made deserves some consideration.
All right, and you gave us this information about annual compensations, and the lowest step is $15.53 an hour, the highest being $20.51. Is that correct? No, this is not?
I did not come here having reviewed that. Quickly, I just went through the payroll that she's currently receiving. Oh, excellent, thank you.
Did she, when she started as coming in with someone with no municipal experience, did she start at a lower pay grade because of that?
Oh, I think we started her at $16.50 an hour, and that was
And what is her, is that where she presently still is at?
$17.17, so whatever the 2%
Right,
twice
so
would be. Or there's a bit of a different machination where you've gone through and gotten 2% for 6 months, which annualizes to 1% for the whole year. So that's how we've arrived at the pay rate for this week of 17.
So what are you proposing be her increase?
Like to go through and get a recommendation.
I'd
like to go through and get a recommendation from the Personnel Board. I think more than a 2% is something I'd like to see moving forward. I think we have an interesting situation where, and Mr. Valiakonis will attest to this, that budget-wise, this is a very difficult thing. You can't say one thing to the schools, and we can't do this and this. What I'm hoping to do is to come through on a consensus that says, yes, I can demonstrate that she has exceeded her expectations and that the Personnel Board is behind it, and that we find a reasonable increase to go through and perhaps put in front of the Board of Selectmen if there's money to do so on a merit increase pool.
Question. Is there any indication that the Finance Committee can support this?
You are my first stop.
Greg, do you have any information on that?
No, I don't think it's been
If the
presented
bo-
to
We
them
could
at
say
this
yes to
point.
it, but if the Finance Committee can't support it, there's nothing we can do. We could support you, but it might not happen, that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think the world changes over the course of the summer. We have a major hurdle to clear as far as a budget goes. And then during the course of the summer, our year-end closes, we get our free cash certified, and we go to the fall town meeting. I'd like to be able to present to my employee that, yes, we've gone through the proper channels, approved an increase, and it's a matter of getting funded. This is a person of character, and nobody's stomping their feet, threatening to leave on Friday if they don't receive an increase. This is something that I initiated. It's a quality employee. I've gone through a similar review with the other person in my office with regards to what the future holds. It's way too easy to stare at the clock and wait for the next paycheck to come through, which is why I've gone through and requested that.
And, go ahead.
In my experience on the Personnel Board, we don't initiate, this person should make this much, that much. We're volunteers who don't work with the people in the departments. We don't know the day-to-day operations of all the different departments. We would, I think at the very least, need to look at some more information as far as what the pay rate is compared to this position in other towns. And we'd definitely need to get a request, a specific request from you that we can review and say we support it or we don't support it. I don't feel comfortable putting out a number saying this is what we
Okay,
recommend.
I'd be more than happy to do it. The payroll in the town hall is sort of a patchwork. Generationally, different people have come in at different times. Certain people have been through some lean times. So I would be able to go through and demonstrate internally and externally what, I mean, you also have to compare apples to apples. I know the gentleman who runs the show in Bill Ricca, and his assistant makes a few thousand less than I do. So we really do need to get a central mass assistant. Payroll.
And that was going to be, I have only been chairperson for 3 months, and I don't, but I've been here on the board, and I don't ever remember our suggesting an amount for a
Okay.
raise. So we would be more than willing to look at something and support an amount, but to
All right.
come up with an amount, I think would be not something we've done in the past historically. And some study with towns of comparable size or neighboring towns and municipalities would be really a good basis for us to look at, and if you came in with a number that falls in that line, then we can support it or not support it. So that's what I would ask that you might do.
My
I-
concern is, in the past, a year or two ago, we had every department coming in here every month because they changed the job description or something with an increase in pay. Next month, another one comes through. And my concern is, if we do this for one person, people are gonna see the payroll, it's public information, and we're gonna have everybody else coming in here saying, well, I do this and I do this, and approaching their supervisor saying, hey, I do a lot of work, I've been here a long time, and I think I deserve more than a merit increase. That's my concern.
And as this is reviewed, I would like to have Mr. Valiakonis's opinion on it as well, because
Yeah,
you've got the overall view of the town.
and we've also, you're correct, in the past, based it on survey of comparable communities, and I have that, those list of communities that kind of mix in with Dudley. But what we try to do is try to pay our people about 90% of what we consider to be average pay. Because this is Dudley, we don't necessarily pay 110% on, similar to Rich mentioned, Bellrica. You know, we can't afford that. So what we try to do is reach the 90% level and not go above that. and I think that's a fair place to look at. We take into account the person's longevity, how long they've been on the job, and any changes in their job responsibility. But, yeah, I agree that support your idea that we should go back and do a study of comparable positions.
Do you think that that is feasible for our next meeting on the 20th of June?
Absolutely. More than happy to go through and do that. And again, we'll look in Central Mass. We'll see job description. Just as an aside, as far as treasurer collectors go, what Mass General Law spells out that I must do and what I do within the town of Dudley are two very different things. There are a whole bunch of things that, whether voluntary or involuntary, gets done in the treasurer collector's office. So I'd be quick to point out any similarities or dissimilarities
That's fine. I think that that is
so
fair.
that we could quantify the next step. Yes,
I didn't
I'm
catch
sorry.
what she currently makes per hour.
It's $17.17.
Okay, thank you.
Then if that's the case, we will be more than happy to place you on our agenda for the June 20th meeting.
May I? I would like that. And if we're going to assemble something, I'd look to get something to you maybe a few days ahead of time.
That would be
Please.
great.
Yes.
Email distribution is all set for something like that. And of course, I'd welcome any comments if somebody had a question or a concern. Obviously, we're getting information from a third party, and would welcome.
Well, we would appreciate that too, because if we have questions and you get them and you can answer them ahead of, and be prepared for that, that would be good.
Not to subvert the open meeting law, but it's research. It's research. Everything would be to put our best foot forward so that finally, when the review took place, we'd be able to have the best information. So
And she is a full-time employee?
she is a full-time employee, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. We'll see you in a month, give or take. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the item for interviews. We will be interviewing tomorrow for the, I'm sorry, I'm looking again on, no, I'm looking at the agenda. We will be interviewing tomorrow for the lifeguard and for the water sewer administrative assistant. And Joan has emailed schedules to everybody who wishes to attend that meeting. I will be there. I believe, Mary Beth, you said you would be there?
There.
And Mr. Dunn will be there. So I think we'll have representation, and ladies, if you want to be there, that's fine also. And they will begin at, going by the seat of my pants now, at 2:30?
3 o'clock. First one starts.
How many? 3 o'clock is the first one with 20-minute interviews. So they will be taking place tomorrow. There is no correspondence. Old business, we had questions last month about the language appearing to, it appeared that there wasn't any change. I spoke to Mr. Balcones afterwards, and the reason for that is that in the past, the changes for the personnel handbook have gone before the Board of Selectmen. And so to maintain that continuity, that is the way that will be, and it is on the warrant. It's one of the warrants for the town meeting on the 22nd of May. So it will be addressed at that time. I will be there at that meeting to speak in favor that the board has supported this change in language. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I feel pretty strongly that it goes to town meeting.
That has to do with the longevity, right?
Yes, it did.
Does.
Yes,
Article 32, you got a copy of it.
yes. You
And
have-
it involves money, and I feel that anything that involves money should go before town meeting.
You have that notification in your information material. It is Article 32. Don't believe there's any new business. I know that summertime is coming with vacation, so if it appears that you'll be on vacation for our June, July, or August meetings, if you give Joan and myself a heads up, so we can make sure that we have a quorum, and if we don't, that we not have that meeting that month, so that we don't take money from the town to have somebody here for no reason. So if you would do that, I'd appreciate that.
What's the date of your July and August meetings?
I'd have to look at my calendar, but I can tell you, because I have them written.
Third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday of the
Every
month.
third Tuesday, but I have the dates specifically, so if you just give me a second, I will let you know. The June meeting is June 20th.
Okay.
The July meeting is the 18th, and the August meeting is the 15th. And September meeting is the 19th, so if you're extending into September. Just so that, and I know that vacations come up sometimes spur of the moment, but if you do have a planned vacation, that would be a good thing to know. And there, I don't see any other business. Greg, do you have business you want to take up with us?
I don't.
Joan, is there anything that you know?
No.
No? All right, our next meeting will be on June 20th at 9 o'clock in the Dudley Municipal Complex. If there is no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make the motion to adjourn to June 20th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is accepted, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.